Hi everyone, welcome back to the Puttering Penman. Today we're going to do a quick video where I talk about some of the things I like and dislike about Pelikan fountain pens. Specifically, I'm going to be talking about the M series of fountain pens, which are the Piston fountain pens. I don't have any experience with their cartridge converter fountain pens, so I'm not going to talk about those. The pens that I'm going to be basing this video around is the M100 series, M200, 300, 400, 600, 800, and 1000 series, because those are the pens I've written with and I've used, and at various times have had some in my collection. So this is a Pelikan M120 fountain pen. It's one of my favorite pens in my collection. This was the 2008 limited edition. And I'm going to use this as sort of the overview of things I like about Pelikan pens. So one thing I like about Pelikan fountain pens is the number of cap rotations it takes to uncap these fountain pens. It is a 3/4 turn right there. So I really like that because, I like screw cap fountain pens because they are more secure, and it's kind of nice to, it feels like you are, closing up your pen securely when you have a screw cap. But the downside of it is when you want to write something quickly, it's a little annoying to have to unscrew a pen, especially if the pen takes 1.5 or 2 rotations to uncap the pen. These Pelikan fountain pens are really nice because it's just a 3/4 turn, so you can cap and uncap really quickly while still having the benefit of a screw cap. Second thing I really like about Pelikan fountain pens is the piston. Of any fountain pen brand I've used, I think Pelikan pistons are the best. So they operate really smoothly, and you can get a good amount of ink filled up into the pen with just, one depression and then, expansion of the piston again. I think it does a really good job. And that makes the pen easy to fill, and it also makes the pen easy to clean, so that's really nice. Another thing I like about this M series of Pelikan fountain pens is that the nibs and feeds actually screw out of the pen, so you can do that. Just like that. And there you go. So this is really nice and convenient for cleaning out the pen. I don't do this very often, and you don't need to take out the nib and feed to clean the pen, but you can. If you have a really stubborn ink, you can unscrew the nib and feed, put it in a cup of water, and let it soak there, and then you can, just run some water into the barrel of the pen, and it's really easy to clean that way. The other advantage of a nib and feed unscrewing is that you can actually switch out the nib. So say you had you had 2 pens of the same size, like 2 Pelikan M200 pens, and one was a fine nib and one was a broad nib. You could actually just switch the nibs between the pens. Or if you damage a pen, you could buy a separate nib unit off of a fountain pen retailer or someone off eBay or, somewhere else that sells Pelikan nib units. So that's really nice and really convenient for Pelikan pens. Something I kind of wish more manufacturers did. Final thing I want to mention about what I really like about Pelikan fountain pens is the ink windows or transparency of some of their pens. So this Pelikan M120 has a really nice ink window here, where you can actually see the ink. So I don't have ink in here because I wanted to do that nib removal demonstration, but this, it's really nice to know that what level of ink you have in the pen. The other pens in the M series, like the M800, say, with the stripes, those are slightly translucent, so if you hold it up to light, you can see the level of ink you have in the pen. I think that's a really nice design because it's not a demonstrator pen, but yet you still know how much ink you have left, which is really nice for piston filling pens, because some piston filling pens don't have ink windows, and it's, you don't really want to be caught in a meeting with running out of ink, so it's nice to be able to check how much ink you have. Okay, now finally I just want to mention two things that I don't like about Pelikan fountain pens. First one is some of the nib quality control. So this pen is labeled as a broad. If you check out the full review I did on this pen, you'll see that it actually writes more like a medium, and I've seen other Pelikan fountain pens where like sometimes somebody will order a fine or extra fine and it writes more like a medium or a broad, and so it's kind of hard to know when you order a Pelikan fountain pen what nib size the pen will actually write with, even if it's labeled as a fine or a broad or medium. And final thing that I don't like about Pelikan fountain pens is just, this is kind of obvious for anybody who looks into buying a Pelikan fountain pen, is the price. So Pelikan pens are expensive, and so this was a $180 pen. It's a fairly small pen. It has a steel nib, and so $180 for that is kind of expensive. It writes terrific. I'm glad I bought it, but $180 is pretty expensive for it, and I waited a long time before buying it because of that. If you're looking at a M600, those pens tend to go for like somewhere around $400, which is pretty expensive. And then if you're looking at an M800 or an M1000, I think is like $800. So that is a lot of money for a fountain pen. And of course, if you're getting an M1000, that's like a luxury pen. But when you're looking at some of the other pens you could get for, around, $400, they're like a Pilot Custom 823 is less money. Visconti Homo Sapien is around that like between the M600 and M800 price. And so there are like a lot of other pens that you'd probably consider just because a Pelikan seems to be so expensive for what you're getting. That said, I really think with Pelikans, the pros outweigh the cons in a lot of cases, especially if you do have a couple $100s to spend on a fountain pen. I think a Pelikan is definitely worth looking into. So, if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you next time. Bye.